Stick a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling.
Conor McGregor causing a stir over the weekend with his fanciful GOAT rankings, ranking himself as number 2, if not tied number 1. John, yeah, what's your take on Conor's Twitter run, and where would you place him in the GOAT rankings?
All right, first of all, with the Twitter run, it's just what Connor does nowadays, right? He just hops on whenever he feels like it and just types away, and we get all riled up, and everybody gets a everybody gets butthurt a little bit from what he's saying, and everybody wants to chime in because everybody wants to fight Connor. Connor is like Israel Adesanya says, it's the hot chick at the bar. That's what Connor is. Probably for the rest of his life will probably be like that. And him going on Twitter and saying anything, it's newsworthy. Him ranking himself number 2 as the GOAT, I don't even see him as even in the top 5. You know what I mean? Like, do you see him as a top 5 greatest of all time yet?
Let me put it up on screen here. We'll see what he said. GOAT thread. The array of finishes across 2 divisions with champion status in 1. Anderson Silva is number 1 MMA GOAT. My array of finishes across 3 divisions with champion status in 2. I'm number 2, not tied 1. Well, if you ask me the question is where does he rank? I think it was pointed out, Khabib pointed out Conor has tapped out more than GSP, Anderson, and Jon Jones combined. And it's also been pointed out Conor has never defended a title. I think these are things you have to consider when you're talking about the GOAT. And, Jon Jones is 14 wins in title fights. GSP is just behind, I think. And then you've got Demetrius Johnson in that conversation. If you're going by those criteria, Conor McGregor is probably nowhere to be seen. He might just make the top 15. But there are so many factors to think about, aren't there?
There are so many factors, and it's just a debate that will go on forever and ever and ever. But there is no debate with Connor ranking him at number 2. I don't feel anybody believes that, except for the hardcore Conor McGregor fans and Conor McGregor himself. Well, if McGregor's speaking, he's probably thinking that he's number 1. He just put himself at number 2 because he has a couple more things he wants to accomplish in the sport. If you're looking at let's say a icon conversation, like icons of the sport, Conor McGregor is definitely number 1. Superstars, of all time, Conor McGregor is probably number 1. But for GOAT, the greatest of all time, inside that cage competing, I don't see Conor McGregor in the top 5, maybe not even in the top 10. But if you want to ask me about my rankings, I look at it as the top 3 fighters of all time, or great GOATs of all time, would be Demetrius Johnson, GSP, and Fedor. Those are the 3 I feel like that are the greatest of all time. Jon Jones, he still has a lot to accomplish, but he does have an asterisk. Anderson Silva has accomplished a lot, but he also has an asterisk next to his name. Um, those are the ones that come to my mind right away. Some people say BJ Penn. Uh, his recent run of I think 7 losses in a row kind of threw him out the window of the GOAT conversation. But going back to Conor McGregor, he still has a lot to accomplish, and he's still pretty young. So if he wants to be number 1 on the list, he needs to go to 170 and fight for that title, win that title, and maybe even defend that title. So people don't say that he's never defended a title, in his career. Just keep that out people's mouths. Just do it and accomplish it. It's not even about money anymore. It's about legacy and being the greatest of all time. McGregor still has a lot to accomplish.
Yeah, I think part of it is just Conor being Conor, keeping his name out there, as you alluded to. As you said as well, there's an asterisk next to Jon Jones and Anderson Silva with doping side of things. GSP, Conor had him in at number 3. Let's see what he said. Much less array of finishes, but champion status in 2. He is far behind, though. Reasons equals he left 170 after much damage taken, plus questionable decision. Never re-engaged 170-pound successors. Bottled Anderson fight. Only moved when one-eyed fighter presented. Played safe. So that's a jab at Michael Bisping. Oh, do you agree with any of that?
Mm, it's he's speaking some truth to it, right? But at the end of the day, it's about winning, right? This is a sport. You win, and that's what GSP did. He won for a long time, and he did come close to losing a couple times, but he still won the fight. He doesn't have the spectacular finishes Conor McGregor has, but if you win and if you look at the level of talent that GSP has gone through, it's respectable, and but Conor does point out some things, some flaws, but you can't deny that GSP won the welterweight title twice, and in the second run he retired with the belt, and then came back and won the middleweight title and retired with the belt. Nobody has done that, right? Nobody. You cannot pick anybody that has done that. Not even McGregor. McGregor has not done that. So, um, yeah, him putting GSP at number 3, that's kind of weird.
Well, he has Jon Jones at 4, maybe tied 3. More array of finishes than 3 and still active, but champion status in just 1. Reasons equals multiple lackluster decision performances plus questionable decision win. Attempting to safe play heavyweight entry, avoiding its champion. I don't know. I think taking Francis over Stipe is it's not really playing it safe, is it? If he is going up to heavyweight.
Yeah, that's blasphemy, right? It's like, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? Why would you say that? Jon Jones, only thing that is a negative target in his resume is just the steroid thing, right? That's it. Like, take away all the distractions outside the cage. We're talking about in competition. The only thing that he has is those steroid accusations, or I don't even know if they're accusations. It's a real thing, right? It's the pulsing. What is it called? Pulsing what?
Oh, micro something or oh my god,
Yeah, some
getting the word.
microscopic, tainted
Yeah.
supplements or whatever
Oh.
you want to call it. But anyways, with Jones, if he didn't have that, he would be most likely tied for number 1, right? Especially he's still fighting. So if he does go up to heavyweight and fights Francis and fights the champ, then he would have a strong, strong argument to be greatest of all time. But those PED, results, it's just always gonna put that little speck of doubt in everybody's mind.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say his last 2 wins have been questionable. You could make a case for Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes winning those fights, can't you? And
Mm.
so Conor is speaking a little bit of truth here.
No doubt about that. But
What's
yeah, it's gonna be something that I think that's gonna be brought up for the next couple of weeks with other fighters that are going to be doing interviews. They're going to be asked about Connor's rankings. And if I was interviewing Jon Jones or Anderson Silva or GSP, that's one of the questions you definitely ask him, right? If you had the chance, the opportunity, you would ask him about those rankings.
Yeah, let's see what he said about the PEDs. I didn't mention PED results on multiple entrants, even though that makes me the clear current number 1 MMA GOAT, along with still being active. Although it shames as well as puts all runs and finishes in complete doubt. I've ignored multiple juice heads. A true GOAT must do it all. Clarity on Silva's earlier number 1 spot. Most stylistic finishes on resume. Front kicks to face, up elbow, albeit outside UFC. Tie plum knees leading to broken facial bones. Long list of jaw-dropping finishes. Myself, Anderson, have the most exciting, important finishes in the sport, and I'm only warming up. Is that
Important. How do you have an important finish? I don't understand that. Aren't all finishes important? Does one person's finish uh mean does one person's is one person's finish more important than the next person's finish? I don't understand what he's trying to. I don't comprehend that. Um but he does make a point about the PEDs, and there's two sides to that, right? There's people that got caught for PEDs, and there's people that have not gotten caught for PEDs, and they've been fighting for a long time. They've just been lucky and smart about it. Um, and that's just a matter of the fact, right? It's just that's how the sport is. We know that there's guys out there there's always trying to get an edge, always trying to be one up, to the next one. And TJ Dillashaw was a perfect example of that. Nobody really expected him to be on PEDs, but that wall came crashing down right after he lost to Henry Cejudo. So we don't know what can come out later on because USADA keeps all the samples, right? Since they started collecting samples, so they could go back and test people's samples years, later, and we might find out some things that we don't want to find out about the past, and it could come up and come to haunt people that are talking trash right now against the PED users.